Hi, I'm Elsa Sandset. I'm a stroke neurologist from Oslo, and it's a pleasure to welcome you here to Basel with this great group of people this morning. We have Lemmens, the chair of the ESOC conference. We have Stephanie Debette, the co-chair, and we have two representatives from the local organizing group, Psychogios and Philippe Lyrer. So welcome, and how are you this morning?
Fantastic.
We're fine.
That's good.
Great.
That's good. So it's been 2 days with beautiful sunshine in Basel, and today, as we all have moved inside, and we're supposed to be here all day inside, there's a bit of rain, and there will be sun again this evening, won't there, Philippe?
Yes.
You ordered it.
So you plant everything.
So, Philippe, can you tell us a bit about, I think you were elemental in getting the conference to Basel. Can you tell us a bit about how you got the conference to Basel?
Yes.
And why it's important for you to have the conference in Basel?
So, being here locally as stroke neurologist at the university hospital and raised up the stroke center, and also having done many work within ESO in different committees, we decided, when I stepped down as president from the Swiss Stroke Society, to bring ESOC once to Basel. So my very important reason was that ESO is domiciliated in Basel, as Association Management Congress is domiciliated in Basel, and it settled down in 2012 in Basel. Personally, I had to sign that that's a wealthy organization and everything is okay with it, and so you see how it developed, and later on we decided that the 10 years Congress could be here in Basel, and so we submitted actually 3 times to get the Congress here in Basel. Now we are here, and I really very welcome everybody here in Basel. Basel has a long tradition with medical sciences and with life sciences. As you may be aware, there are big companies settled down here in Basel, and so now we have the ESO Congress here in Basel. Congratulations. Thank you for coming here.
I think it's great, and Basel, it's we already experienced it. I've been here since Monday, and both Monday night and last night when I was out for dinner, you meet people from the conference everywhere in the streets, and that is so it creates a unique atmosphere being in a bit of a smaller city where basically stroke has taken over the city, I would say. So Marius, you're also based here. And you also, your day or your conference started yesterday, didn't it? With
Exactly. We had a pre-ESOC meeting, the Distal Summit. As you know, stroke is interdisciplinary and interprofessional. So we are living it also here in Basel like this. We are collaborating very nicely with neurology. I'm a neuroradiologist. And so yesterday we had if you want, interventional meeting, but with a lot of neurology aspects implemented in there, because we do the distal trial. It's a randomized trial that we run in Europe. And we gathered a lot of experts from around the world to discuss about distal occlusions, the treatment of distal occlusions, and how we can plan the future with meta-analysis on the trials that are coming, etc. So it was a very fruitful day, and I'm excited for the ESOC.
So, but Marius, your only role is not being an endovascular specialist, I think, for the conference. We all know it's also a big social event, right? Els was talking about having dinner. So you're also responsible for some elements in the program which are not maybe directly known to people, so to keep healthy. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So my team organizes the stroke run, and kudos to Lucia Balmer, who's done a great job on this organization. So this is going to be on Thursday at 7 a.m. And we are going to have 2 groups, a 5-kilometer and a 7-kilometer group. So if you want to be part of the stroke run, just be in front of the convention center at 7 a.m. And also, since we discussed yesterday, you and I used to play a little bit of basketball. We thought that we have another event, maybe if it's raining, people want to go inside. So we have a basketball game today, actually, at 7 p.m. So yeah, we try to get to stay healthy during the Congress.
Exactly. Not only about science, but also about exercise, right?
Definitely. So you said multidisciplinary. Stroke definitely is multidisciplinary, and this conference is very international. Can you tell us a bit about the number of delegates, Stephanie, and some of the highlights of the program, maybe?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you very much for hosting us. We're really thrilled to be here in Basel. And very proud with Robin, and I think all the credit goes to Robin, but we have 4,600 attendees, which is quite amazing. I think it's the second largest, isn't it, since the beginning of ESOC in the past 10 years, so quite an amazing number. So we have also very diverse attendance. First of all, I think we've tried to structure the program in a very multidisciplinary fashion, and also having speakers from across the world, from within Europe, across Europe, but also outside of Europe, and from other disciplines. Also very proud to see that among the top 10 countries attending, they are not only European countries, but also non-European delegates from the United States, from China. We have also very large Ukrainian attendance, which is wonderful. So we are really very happy and looking very much forward to these coming days.
Yeah, definitely. I think also the international aspect is shown in the abstracts that were submitted. Of course, we typically have a lot of European countries where the abstracts are coming from, but also here we see the top 5 countries, which are 2 non-European countries, which are also China and US. And so I think that also speaks for the conference that it's truly international and attracting globally people here to not only attend, but also to present their work, which is excellent news, I think.
And Robin, you have been quite busy leading up to this conference. So now we're here, and what are the things you are looking most forward to?
Well, I think the important element is, like we're talking about the basketball run, the basketball and the run, and I think that speaks to the fact that it's also a social event. And we talked about that also last year because we went fully on site and not the hybrid format, and again we're doing this fully on site. I think it's not just about it's of course about the scientific presentations, and we'll talk a little bit about the trials I think hereafter, but it's also about bringing so many people together and meeting people again, and this can initiate collaborations between people, young people, like early, mid and late career. I think, and this conference is ideally for people to meet. So I'm looking forward to that. But of course we're also looking forward to what's being presented, and so we had a huge amount of abstracts being submitted, so 15% more in comparison to last year. And also a lot of late-breaking abstracts. And typically, of course, those are randomized controlled trials that will be presented during the plenaries, and we typically have 3 plenary sessions, but the amount of clinical trials that was submitted was too large, so we could not fit it into the 3 plenary sessions. So we had to decide to basically design a 4th clinical trial session, and that's going to be on the Thursday morning, 8:30, so it's important for people to know that, because the plenaries are of course in everyone's agenda, but we have an extra clinical trial session at 8:30 on Thursday. And that's just because there were so many terrific submissions that we had to make it's a luxurious position to be in, I think, but they're very much looking forward to the clinical trials being presented. And what you hopefully will notice and see is that it's a very diverse program also in the plenaries. So it will be about prevention. It will be about primary, secondary prevention. It will be about interventions both for ischemic and hemorrhagic stroke again. And so it will be about rehabilitation as well. So we have the full scale of what we're dealing with, I think, as stroke physicians, also included in the plenary session. So very much looking forward to that.
And since you have in-depth knowledge of all these trials, what are you looking forward to most hearing about that will influence your clinical practice, you think?
So I think for many years the focus has been for clinical trials on the treatment of ischemic stroke. I think last year already there were these positive results as it was related to the treatment of intracranial hemorrhage. And we will again have trials being presented on the topic of intracranial hemorrhage and how to also improve outcome for those patients. So I think mostly looking forward to those ones, although of course everything is of interest. But I think to illustrate that the field is also moving towards a lot of progress for patients with intracranial hemorrhage. And that is something new, I think, in comparison to many years ago, where of course we had the great revolution of endovascular treatment for ischemic stroke patients, but hopefully we'll now see that also a same shift into indeed change of clinical practice as it relates to treating patients with intracranial hemorrhage. Which you're probably looking forward to as well, Elsa.
No, I'm looking forward to that a lot, and I think it also, yesterday it was the first Intracerebral Hemorrhage Academy organized by ESOC, where with the speakers, there were about 40 participants, specific topics on ICH, and also having younger colleagues present their research and getting feedback on that. So there's definitely a shift in our field with an increasing focus on ICH, which is much needed, and also hopefully we can make some progress in the treatment. So, and you, Stephanie, what are you looking most forward to hearing about from the program?
So I think I'm very much looking forward to the whole conference, which is extremely rich, and I particularly appreciate the diversity, because indeed we learn a lot from many fields. And maybe one thing to highlight in addition to what Robin has mentioned is that we've also tried to integrate basic science research and preclinical research in addition to the clinical part, and often intertwined in the same sessions, and I really like that a lot, because I think it brings in a lot of knowledge on the sort of mechanisms, and also opportunities maybe for future therapeutic developments that emerge from this basic work. I think there's which is perhaps a particular field of interest of mine, but on the genomics and omics side, a number of talks that are dedicated to sort of also giving some leads into how this can eventually bring in some novelties into precision medicine, into therapeutic developments, and yes, I think that there will be a very large panel of topics that will be suitable for every type of background in the audience. So.
And I think it's very important that you underscore the importance of having this variability in one session on a particular topic. I think that's a decision also that was made within the program committee, not to have like a preclinical basic science session on various topics, but indeed to merge that into sessions where maybe attendees will typically not have gone to the basic science talk, but if they're interested in the topic, it's informative to also hear about that, and that can indeed result to collaborations and insights that maybe you would have not thought of on beforehand. So I think that's very important that this Stephanie has mentioned this. Yes.
And I also think one of the new things on the program that has not been as present in the past is that we have several people who have suffered stroke on the program this year, with specific sessions dedicated to life after stroke, where we have the people we have treated in our clinical practice. And I think that is also, it's something about getting in kind of an overarching feel for the entire field, from the basic clinical science to the people who have suffered stroke, and we have everything in between, which is quite unique and fantastic with the conference.
This diversity is essential.
Yeah. And you, Marios, you of course, you're, we could say, you're a simple plumber, but a bit more than that. But your interests are more than that. What are you looking forward to the most in the program?
Well, I think the integration of interventionalists in the ESOC is really of importance. And I mean, I mentioned distal trial. This is a trial where the PI is a neurointerventionalist, and I think this is like a novelty in our field, that we also have from other directions people coming with ideas and trying to running trials. And as Robin, I'm also very excited about the ICH trials. I think this is a really field where we can do a lot more. And we have also started here trials with neurosurgery, for example, regarding minimally invasive evacuation, but also from even before that, seeing a bleeding and trying to stop it before it bleeds further. So we are doing work in this field, and I think it's really important to see the results.
Definitely.
So now, Philippe, you've been going to all the conference, I think.
Yes, of course.
So you've seen a lot of change over the years, and so if you look back to ESOC, like your experiences over the years, so what strikes you the most, or what do you remember best of? Because we're celebrating also the 10th anniversary.
Definitely.
And so, looking back, so what are your thoughts about ESOC and the experiences?
I think what we learned is to specifically treat acute stroke. And this is very well settled down also with stroke units, stroke centers, and covers most of the countries that most people can get really an adequate treatment. My focus now is on secondary prevention and to develop secondary prevention in the way of personalized medicine. What does the individual really needs for his further life? And that's why we also had yesterday in the pre-ESOC sessions one open session, open to the public, dealing exactly with this. What are the needs of the patients and the next of kin? And I think that it's the next steps that will come on the next years. Do more and do more specific in the secondary prevention, as well as we are very well settled for acute stroke treatment. And I think that's maybe the developments that we are waiting.
So you mentioned the event yesterday. This was about patient organization and stroke awareness.
Exactly.
So can you talk a little bit more about the initiative?
Yes, so we saw that actually we do not have a patient organization that is dedicated specifically to next of kin and patients in Switzerland. And this is amazing, as we have to do a lot for stroke, but it's also amazing that other countries around Switzerland, they already have it. And so we were thinking, how could we develop this? And we saw that there are many, many initiatives also in Switzerland, but they are heterogeneous. And so we will try to bring this together. And that's a new development.
So, and then a completely different question potentially, but people come to Basel, they may not be familiar with Basel. So they're looking now this morning and they're planning to go to the event here, but then thereafter they want to see Basel. So give us a list what we should not be missing when we're here.
Yes, that's a good idea, because actually there's a lot of history in Basel. You may be aware that it's a humanistic city. We had Erasmus from Rotterdam in Basel. We had Gutenberg, who developed printing in the 16th, 17th century. The university is more than 550 years old. It was actually founded in 1460. So there's a lot of tradition. The Congress Center itself is almost downtown. So you can go everywhere just by walking. And you also have free access to tramways and whatever you want. And so there's the cathedral. There are almost 40 museums, many with modern art, with old art. And so there's a lot to do. So take the time to do this, beside, of course, stroke science.
Luckily, he's also advertising ESOC.
Definitely. So I think this will end our session here now. I think we've highlighted a great program, a great conference. There's lots of people to meet from all different specialities, different backgrounds, different countries. I think talk to someone you haven't talked to before and enjoy the science, the city, and hopefully the sun.
Yes, enjoy ESOC 2024.